the book review. So you should be able to see this PDF file. So I draw and write things, so that's why I need something to guide me through. So for this particular review, I was looking at muka surat 170 hingga 219, Nietzsche's Will to Power. So again, as with other people, this is my first time reading the original text of Nietzsche's Will to Power. So mungkin interpretation tu tak betul. Harap kalau tak betul, tolong betulkan lah. And to be honest, not the easiest text to digest. Ada certain portion kat dalam teks ni tak faham sangat. I will mention it later. Part mana yang tak faham. Tapi what I've gathered from the reading is dia adalah 8 tema utama yang diceritakan dalam section ni. So I'll try to go through with it one by one. In short, kalaulah Nietzsche hidup pada zaman kita hari ini, dia akan cari gaduh dengan banyak orang. So essentially orang pertama yang dia akan cari gaduh ialah agamawan, those in religious background, especially kalau within the context of Christianity. He didn't like priests a lot. Kumpulan kedua yang dia akan cari gaduh ialah politicians. Also the same concept, and then the kumpulan ketiga yang dia akan cari gaduh ialah civil institutions, military, people working in science. Essentially, apa yang Nietzsche tak suka ialah the values that are imposed. So he highlighted item number 1, what is to him values. So values ni kalau ikut Nietzsche, dia to sum it up, he believed that a great moralist is a great actor. So you are imposing your own belief system, the way you act, the way you think on another people. For Nietzsche, to be virtuous, to have a value, it means you ni macam kambing dalam satu kumpulan kambing. You are standardized. You have a certain set of way of thinking, way of doing things. You do not have your own distinct characteristics. That's why Nietzsche dia tak suka agamawan, dia tak suka politicians, because these people impose views in terms of impose values on other people. And then apa yang Nietzsche highlight, herd instinct. Kita tend to behave in a way so that we are accepted within a particular community. So kalau ikut Nietzsche, silap-silap tu kita akan masuk cult lah. We just follow blindly. So kalau again for this particular theme, politics of virtue, Nietzsche believed that the reason why humans impose virtues on another human is because of self-preservation. Ni kat muka surat 175. Self-preservation tu sebab kita nak the way we think, the way we behave, the way we perceive what is good, what is bad, how we do things. Kita nak orang lain, kita nak diri sendiri supaya boleh sambung buat apa yang kita biasalah. So if there's another person or another group of individual that contra to what we do, what we believe, and what we think, then we do not like it. We feel threatened. So that's why a communal morality is enforced because it procures an advantage. Advantage tu untuk diri kita lah. That's why we are told how to talk, how to behave, how to think. And this is what Nietzsche highlights, the politics of virtue. Dia boleh jadi tool untuk control individu. So that's the first theme. The second theme that was highlighted by Nietzsche is defending the virtue. So as mentioned tadi, dia memang tak suka orang-orang yang impose ataupun mengarahkan a particular virtue that person have on another person. Kalaulah Nietzsche hidup pada zaman ni, again dia akan cari gaduh dengan orang online, sebab there's a lot of people online that gives imposes the way you think, the way you behave, and so on. So number two, Nietzsche believed that a virtuous man is of a lower species. Lower species ni artinya there's this particular virtuous man is taraf dia lagi bawah lagi dari orang yang immoral. I think that's the precise term. Not sure which page is this. So what it means is that this virtuous man dia tak ada value sendiri. Dia akan ikut aja apa yang orang lain sarankan lah, in terms of values. And what Nietzsche tak suka is the fact that individuals use this particular term, everything is in the hands of God. So for Nietzsche, what he look at, define ideal is in terms of religion, God is that ideal stage lah. But as we move along, bawah writing lain, dia ada definisi dia like yang lain tentang ideal self. So that's that. So virtue, according to Nietzsche, is very context dependent. Artinya apa yang diterima pakai oleh satu community itu, dia tak semestinya diterima pakai oleh komuniti yang lain. A very clear example of this is actually the contra between what we perceive as acceptable here in Asia, in the East, and what is perceived acceptable in the West. So it's very context dependent. That's why Nietzsche tak suka impose virtues on other people. So there is always something to honor in terms of virtue, and you do not have to use virtue as a propaganda on another person. So Nietzsche believes taranan dia, you make what you can of yourself. Artinya you are your own self in terms of what you believe in, how you for example perceive good, evil. However, you should not praise yourself, nor let others praise you, because your values, your virtues are solely yours alone. Tapi ada condition lah. It doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want. And Nietzsche will explain it later on in a different section of the writing. Okay, I think it's muted. Okay. And then right, that is the depending virtue portion. Okay, then it comes to how Nietzsche explain virtue. Virtue kalau ikut Nietzsche, dia ada it's like a coin, ada two sides to it. The same particular virtue can be good or not good. So what Nietzsche highlight is that virtuous essentially it is what is good for yourself, for you. Tapi there's a contra in terms of what is good for others in a different condition. Another duality that Nietzsche highlights is the obvious, meaning to say what we do, what we act, what we believe in, versus what is hidden. So that's the second duality that I sense in this particular section. The other duality is this one, the contra between the charm of the forbidden versus desirability. Charm of the forbidden ni artinya apa yang kita tak boleh buat. That's why what essentially virtue is. We understand border tu kat mana. And versus desirability here means what is acceptable within a particular context. So how we think, behave, and act is actually is a contrast, continuous struggle between what is not permissible and then what is accepted within the society. I'm not so sure if I translate this portion correct. And what Nietzsche believes is that kita tak akan sampai perfection. We will never reach that stage where we are satisfied with our own values. So okay, I like this particular quote from Nietzsche. It's on page 193. What he highlights is that virtue ni kita boleh gunakan as a tool, a political tool, a tool for control. And he highlights essentially what he wants to highlight in terms of the power angle. So kalau ikut Nietzsche, the concept of power always includes both the ability to help and the ability to harm. So saranan Nietzsche, dia kat belakang sikit lah, hujung-hujung section ni, for everyone is to think in the kalaulah kita ni hidup dalam masyarakat, kita mesti mesti ikut apa yang dipraktikkan oleh komuniti kita. Nietzsche suggests us to actually think first before we submit. This is because if it might be that if you don't follow a particular belief system or a particular way of doing things, you might not survive. So kelangsungan tu penting. Tapi what Nietzsche suggested is that kalau kita boleh ikutlah in this case because our kelangsungan is important, but ask questions first. Contohnya, what really determines the value that we need to follow? And then how is this really possible? And then is this particular value the actual value that we need to follow? So the bottom line for recombination by Nietzsche is, why do you submit? That's the kena fikir dulu lah sebelum menerima sesuatu nilai yang diterima masyarakat. So that's the duality of it. The next theme that I caught on is actually field ethics. So there's a section where Nietzsche extensively discuss on ethics. Dia punya definisi adalah philosophy of desirability. So I like this particular quote very much. Again, it comes back to the analogy of coin. The coin have two sides. So depending on how you perceive it. So dalam perkataan Nietzsche, vice and virtue are not causes but only consequences. But before he came to this, dia ada juga lah tanya soalan, apakah itu apakah yang desired, what is being desired, how is it being desired and why is it so. And then dia pun tanya soalan, how do we put in the perceived notion that something is good, something is not good. So kalau ikut perkataan Nietzsche, something is bad because of a number of reasons. Dua reason yang dia highlight kat dalam writing dia, weakness of will and multiplicity of personality. So again, I think last week, during last week's review, it was highlighted that killing, for example, saja-saja nak bunuh tu, it's wrong. But then if you kill within the context of self-defense, it might be acceptable. It's still wrong, but then it might be acceptable. So that's the example that was given last week lah. And another thing that Nietzsche akan cari gaduh kalau dia hidup dalam zaman kita sekarang, it's he didn't like religion in the point of view of Christianity. So what happened is that kalau ikut konsep Christianity, correct me if I'm wrong, man is born bad. You sin, you are always in the constant state of sinning. So Nietzsche persoalkan this particular point of view lah, because the Christian seems to be putting this as their macam kepercayaan mereka lah. So because they are in a constant state of sin, they have to be saved, salvation. Because they are in constant state of sinning, they need to be guided. Somebody has to tell them how to do things right, and so on. So Christianity, for this purpose, dia macam dah impose, you are bad, you have to be safe. However, the man itself doesn't know why he or she is bad. There's no thought process on, how do you know that this is a bad thing to do? How is this a good thing to do? So it's a struggle. Again, I noticed, but for this particular section, dia banyak contra lah from A and B. It is easy to perceive lah at the surface when it comes to reading. So another contra yang dia highlight is salvation, diselamatkan versus damnation, I think. Okay, I don't really remember what I write here. Sorry, cakar ayam sikit perkataan. Now coming back to the coin analogy tadi, what one perceive as innocence, it might be foolishness on the other side of the coin. And this is why desiring an ideal is very dangerous according to Nietzsche. Another two sides of the coin thingy that Nietzsche highlight is blessedness versus sloth. I think sloth is pemalas, but sebab dia gunakan perkataan ni mungkin sebab for men it's easy to just accept and follow through, and that is why Nietzsche gunakan perkataan, I think, laziness and sloth in this particular section. And then on one side of the coin is love, on another side of the coin you do not want to have enemies, or I think the word that Nietzsche used in this section is hate. Okay, so another recommendation yang Nietzsche buat, for us humans, individuals, if we are to follow what is desirable, we need to scrutinize it further. So dia ada 3 langkah lah untuk scrutinize what is desirable, and in the broader context is ethics. Number 1, discover your stand kat mana, what is your virtue, and then also discover what is the virtue of outside you, meaning to say what happens in the society, for example. And then knowing it, acknowledging it, and finally identify the regression. The regression kat sini refer to the contrast lah between what is good and what is not good. So that's the recommendation from Nietzsche. Tolong tengok balik what do you perceive as what is desirable for yourself and also for the people around you. Okay, tema kelima, ni pun dia highlight extensively in a few pages of the writing. So in the first, at the start of the review tadi, I ceritakan pasal the ideal state. So kalau ikut Christianity, the ideal state is God, their God lah. So Nietzsche looks in depth on apa yang diceritakan pasal ideal. So that's why this theme I call it unpacking the ideal. So kalau ikut Nietzsche punya interpretation, dia ada 3 jenis self. The pagan self is the perfection that that the individual seeks to achieve in terms of within the context of religion lah. The second one is diluted self. So kalau diluted self ni is a slightly more diluted version of the pagan self. Artinya dia ada kat sini dia ada weakness sikit, loophole sikit. And the third one is the anti-natural self. This is the part of the self that that looks at destruction, deception, that is being judgmental. So these are the 3 ideals that Nietzsche proposed. When you talk about ideal tu, you nak ikut ideal apa sebenarnya? Most of the time kalau ikut interpretation Nietzsche dalam section ni, we are following through the priests, the politicians, for example, their virtues, the virtues that they reflect to us. So what Nietzsche recommends is one must destroy morality if one is to liberate life. So not too sure what he means by this, but I would assume that yang dia ceritakan ni sebenarnya in order for you to know what is good, you also have to know what is bad. That is how I interpret it lah. And then Nietzsche also kind of highlight survival strategy. Kalaulah you kena hidup, kalaulah you kena pastikan kelangsungan hidup tu ada, one should have an idea that one follows in order to distinguish oneself. So it's again, it comes back to the duality of it. For yourself, what do you believe in terms of virtue? And then for others, what do others believe? And then what do others believe in, and how do you fit in? A bit irony lah actually. Dia macam ada 2 muka kat situ. But okay, and then kat page 197, that is where he terang-terang bagi tahu dia tak suka Christianity. He didn't like it because of the way the religion imposes values on people. So he wanted to put an end to what he called tyranny lah. Dia tak suka yang values tu diimposkan. So he wanted to have more robust ideas. So I would assume kat sini dia nak virtuous diri tu lebih menonjol lagi, rather than you following the herd instinct of, for example, your religion. Okay, that is theme number 5. Theme number 6, this is an interesting theme for me that I uncovered. Tema ni berkaitan dengan konsep the good man. What is a good man? What Nietzsche defines good man is, one is good on condition one also knows how to be evil. I'm going to use this statement after this to describe good and the good man. So it comes back to when you want to know A, you also need to know what's the mathematics term, A, comma kat atas. So the two sides of the coin. Another reason yang dia highlight kenapa dia tak suka religion, in particular Christianity, is when the priests come in and talk about what is good, what is not good, it almost seems as if you have to take sides. You have to be completely good or you have to be completely bad. Dia tak terima grey area kat tengah-tengah. So and as I mentioned tadi, man is always put in the condition that you have to be saved by someone. The specific term is salvation. And you are always in sin mode. You are always the bad one around. So that's why Nietzsche tak suka religion. And again, kat page 193, dia highlight pasal virtuous being consequential, meaning to say it is context driven. It depends on what kind of things that you need to weigh in at a particular point of situation. But what I'm interested in is actually benda-benda yang dia letakkan kat sini, because I suppose until now pun kita ada lagi macam crisis and conflict, not just for ourselves but then for the people or for the community, on all these values: integrity, dignity, sense of duty, justice, humanity, honesty, strictness, good conscience. So he's trying to highlight that when we behave, when we show this kind of virtues to people and to ourselves, it is always consequential, depending on what context are we behaving in. So dia tak suka konsep the good man, sebab konsep ni dia akan melahirkan ideal herd animal. Artinya you are someone or something that follows blindly. So specific term yang dia gunakan, the slave of the future. And yang dia akan cari pasal ialah the same as the most powerful type of men. And this is responding to the religion part lah yang dia tak suka. So that is the sixth theme on the good man. The seventh theme yang dia pun ceritakan banyak juga kat belakang-belakang is on the concept of egoism. Now, why does Nietzsche highlight so much that you need to know where you stand, you need to know your virtues? It's because of this concept, egoism. So essentially, egoism, according to Nietzsche's definition, value judgment. Artinya, we look at who we are and who is the other in relation to me. So there's almost as if that this is an act of comparing. So I compare you, and then I perceive myself as better than you because of certain things that I do and certain things that you don't do, or some other ways. But what Nietzsche is trying to highlight here is they compare. Egoism is how you value, you judge your value against another individual or another group of people. That's why I lukis stickman dengan letter to denote the comparison angle. So on this page 199, Nietzsche highlights that if one does good merely out of pity, it is oneself one really does good to and not the other. So the key point that Nietzsche is trying to highlight, based on my interpretation, is that egoism essentially is things that you do or beliefs that you have that make you feel good about yourself. The whole point is to please yourself lah. And he further highlighted that one furthers one's ego always at the expense of another's. So dia macam you will gain and then the other person always loses. But he also highlights kalau lah manusia dibenarkan untuk hidup dengan egoism ni, it won't be a very peaceful world. So it is the task of the society to suppress egoism, according to Nietzsche. And how Nietzsche did it, how the society did it, according to Nietzsche, is doctrine of love. So there is a set of virtues under this particular doctrine. For example, self-affirmation, patience, helpfulness, cooperation, endurance, that is used by the society to condition or to control egoism of individuals. One example that I can think of while reading this particular section is tahun lepas there was this argument lah. Why is it that there's nothing happening on the civil service when everyone else is contributing to the cost in terms of managing COVID-19 pandemic? It wasn't until like I think August, September, October, yang the government, the chief secretary announced that every civil service of a certain pay grade, dia akan kena potong gaji supaya gaji itu akan sumbangkan pada tabung untuk membantu usaha-usaha pemulihan pas COVID-19. So you can perceive it as like two point of view. Point of view number one, this is exactly the doctrine lah. Everyone else is suffering, you have to suffer. But on the other side of the coin, is this necessary? Just because you were not in the action, does it mean that you do not contribute? So that is something that I tried to relate to lah, or to what's happening today. And Nietzsche ada problem dengan altruism, selflessness. Because according to him, this particular trait, this particular virtue appeals under certain condition. You would like to make yourself feel good, or you would like to be perceived as being good. So bawah altruism ni, it can be on one side of the coin, it's about humility, it's about obedience, it's about putting the needs of the many in front, the needs of the one or the few at the back. Tapi if you flip the coin, again coming to the coin analogy, is actually revenge and what is this? Enduring, I think. Revenge versus enduring. So for Nietzsche, you do good because you just want to make yourself feel good, essentially. Whether the other party benefits from your good deeds is another matter to be discussed lah. This is how I interpret altruism according to to what is written for this section. Okay. Tema terakhir, sebenarnya kat belakang penulisan ni Nietzsche ada cite dua jenis example. Example pertama on lies. Example kedua on passion. Passion is the section that I tak faham. I think dia kat belakang. Hold on, let me see which page is this. I think it's page 208. Page 208 onwards, about passion. So that is the section yang I tak faham, so that's why I didn't cite it here in this review. So section ni faham sikit lah. Thou shall not lie. Lying as truthfulness as a virtue. This is what Nietzsche is trying to review. So Nietzsche believes that everyone lies. I think this is a quote from House MD, the doctor series from US. So that particular doctor cites that everyone lies, and how so? What is said is always too much or too little. There's always things that you omit or things that you add on. according to Nietzsche. And whatever that you mentioned is actually conditional. Again, it comes back to what is the situation that you're supposed to behave or respond to. So, and another statement that I like that Nietzsche put in is one who attempts to attain something always say once what he would like to have others to thought of him. Artinya, if you want to tune other people's perception on you, you will jawab, for example, in a politically correct manner. That's a form of lying, according to Nietzsche. And another thing that I caught on from his writing is that history lies. This I agree very much. Sebab there will never be a version of history. There's always multiple versions. The version that you presented might be the version that is picked by the winner, for example. So this is another item that Nietzsche highlights lah. And finally, kat belakang hujung-hujung section ni, he comes back again and cari gaduh dengan priest. He didn't like priests. To extend that particular observation, he didn't like men of religion, essentially. So come to the end of the notes that I pick from the reading. The points are jumpy. Artinya kadang-kadang dia akan ceritakan pasal point A tapi tiba-tiba point A hadir kat belakang. So that's why to catch or to capture the train of thought is very, very difficult. But I'm grateful lah because I lukiskan then nampak dia punya flow. So that's all from my presentation. Kalau ada soalan tu I cuba jawab. Kalau tak boleh, probably other people in this group should be able to help to jawab. So thank you.
Okay, terima kasih Dr. Doria. Sekarang kita buka ruang untuk sesi soal jawab atau perbincangan. Siapa boleh unmute lah kalau ada soalan nak tanya ke, ada point of view nak share ke.
Semua nak cuti di Pavali, so
Tak nampak pun ada Indo sini. Jangan malu-malu.
But I have to admit lah, I really enjoy
Terputus lah, tak dengar apa yang Dr. Doria cakap. Cuma sampai yang dia happy. Orang lain dengar. Dia lain saya yang tak okey.
Tak dengar.
Setelah kita tunggu sekejap. Mungkin ada masalah teknikal lah. Doria, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Kenapa tadi
Okay.
tiba-tiba
Ya, tak putus, tak dengar apa-apa. Sejak kata happy saja, lepas tu tak dengar apa dah. Okay, tak ada soalan dengar. Saya sebenarnya nak ajukan soalan tapi tak tahu macam mana nak formulate soalan saya pula. Nak tanya pasal ego tu. Apa pandangan Dr. Doria tentang penekanan Nietzsche ke atas egoism ni?
Okay, this is based on my own interpretation. I think he's trying to highlight that coming back to the two sides of a coin analogy, it's good for you to have your own virtues, your own belief system, tapi not to the expense of looking down on another person or discrediting another person. Sebab what I gather very strongly for this particular section is the concept that it can, whatever that you believe in, you boleh gunakan dia ke atas kebaikan, and then you boleh gunakan dia ke atas keburukan. So I suppose that's why Nietzsche bagi banyak penekanan pada konsep egoism ni, sebab the line seems clear. How we should conduct ourselves, what are the things that we should believe in. He emphasizes on the self very much. Tapi you cross the line slightly, and then it becomes something that is macam repressing. You tekan orang lain for the sake of your own self. That's how I interpret it. I'm not so sure if I answer your question, Liu. Passing it back to you. Not sure if I answer the question, tapi that's how I sense it lah.
Sorry, my line is not good, so I didn't hear your whole argument.
Okay, let me repeat. I sense kenapa Nietzsche pentingkan, I highlight and emphasize a lot on egoism is the duality angle. So your virtues is good if you put it to good use. Tapi you cross the line sikit, you for example look down on other people, and it becomes a not so good thing. So I sense that what Nietzsche is trying to highlight to us is that berpada-pada lah. Do not put yourself onto another person punya virtue. So not so sure if I answered that question, but that's the whole the main theme that I sense here. While you have what you believe in, the term is double-edged sword. It can kill, and at the same time can save also. So did I answer your question? Hello? Am I still here?
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Doria.
Okay.
Maybe Liu has problem.
Okay, dia keluar masuk, I assume.
Dia maju dia.
Okay, dia dah masuk balik.
Ya, Wi-Fi rumah saya masalah. Sekarang saya guna data plan, Wi-Fi tak jadi. 4G sekarang. Tak apa, saya rasa orang lain sudah tangkap yang sudah Dr. Doria tadi terangkan. Saya pun sudah dapat bahagian yang depan dan cuma belakang. Orang lain lah.
Hello.
Sorry, hi.
Hello.
Yes.
Selamat malam, Dr. Doria.
Selamat malam.
This is Intan.
Okay, hi.
Thank you for your presentation. It was very clear. I found it very useful. I just want to ask you, from your reading of this chapter on philosophy of ethics, morality, values, virtues, do you find anything yang boleh dikatakan memesongkan akidah?
What do you mean by memesongkan akidah?
Something like really scandalous and unacceptable to the believers, something that will cause an outrage to the beliefs on morality of a believer, of a religious believer. What do you think? Because from your explanation, I found it quite okay. But usually when people hear about Nietzsche, or they speak about Nietzsche's philosophy of ethics, they have a very negative view about it. So I was just wondering if you can give your view.
I
Do you
think the
he is,
negative fear mungkin comes from the fact that dia terang-terang bagi tahu dia tak suka orang agama, dia tak suka orang politik, dia tak suka Christianity. Mungkin from that departure point kot yang people have negative connotations about his concept of morality. I didn't find it offensive or damaging or dangerous, but if I can repeat my coin analogy tadi lah, the same point can be used either in a good way or in a bad way. So I suppose kalau Nietzsche hidup sekarang, dia mungkin akan cari gaduh dengan Islam also, because for us, we prescribe to the belief that Quran is our main source of revelation, kan? And this particular source of revelation is actually what we have to live on as Muslims. How do you behave? How do you think? So mungkin it will not sit well on Nietzsche lah. In short, because for us, we accept it as it is. Quran is the source of revelation, and this contra very much to what Nietzsche believes in. Because Nietzsche wants us to actually tanya dulu, kenapa? I'm not so sure if I answered the question lah.
No, yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Can you carry on from your last sentence? I think you were about to make a point. No?
Tak ada.
Okay. Thank you.
I think if I can continue, Intan, probably this point code. Sekejap I buka my. Okay, yang ni. This is something that I find, are you sure? When I baca balik, because this is direct quote lah. It is the task of the society to suppress egoism. Yang ni mungkin dia punya the irony. Sebab kat depan-depan dia ceritakan pasal is the self punya virtue that is most important. Tapi tiba-tiba kat belakang dia bagi tahu kenapa it is the task of the society to control it. So are you, which alignment are you sebenarnya? So that is something that bila I baca, I did question lah, this part that I tak faham. Tapi when dia ceritakan pasal doctrine of love tu, okay, baru mungkin faham tak faham tu is the blurry line. So can anyone else respond to that? Probably. This is the part that I tak faham sangat sebab dia ada kontra dengan apa yang dia bagi tahu kat depan. But again, if I can remember what is being mentioned in the previous recency sessions, buku ni sebenarnya adalah compilation dari apa yang dia tulis. So mungkin kita susah nak cari dia punya connection. And probably because of that also, memang akan ada the irony of it. So point ni tak sama dengan apa yang dia dah bagi tahu sebelumnya. So that's that lah, from my own personal observation, this point.
Dr. Doria,
Yes.
can you speak a little bit more about his doctrine of love?
If you want to look at it, it's in page 201. I think I'd have summarized it already. Kalau kat page 201, dia ceritakan pasal kat mana ni sebenarnya? Sekejap. Forget. 201 atas sekali sebenarnya, statement ketiga. a doctrine and religion of love, of suppression, of self-affirmation, of patience, endurance, helpfulness, of cooperation in word and deed, can be of the highest value within such classes, even from the point of rulers. For it suppresses feelings of rivalry, of resentment, of envy, the all true natural feeling of the underprivileged. What I really like is the statement kat belakang lah. This explains why the ruling class or race and individuals have at all times upheld the cult of selflessness, the gospel of the lowly, the God on the cross. I'm not so sure if I answer your question, but then that's the part where Nietzsche highlights the doctrine and religion of love lah, kat atas tadi, page 201. So in my interpretation, it's the virtue that is highlighted and deemed as good for the society might be very bad as well. That's how I look at it lah. Not sure if I really answer the question.
Okay, Dr. Doria, can
Yep.
I add something? And
Ya, boleh
maybe
teruskan
also
because
to nak jawab juga sedikit apa yang Intan tanya kan. First of all, I would like to thank. I can see that, Masya Allah, Dr. Doria, you can bring all those diagram, lukisan. So really you are a real educator lah, and then simplify the ideas kan, which memudahkan lah seperti mana kata Intan. Saya cuma nak mungkin sedikit beberapa perkara yang saya cuba nak ni, antaranya soalan Intan dan mungkin juga menjawab because Doria did mention that macam tentang konsep passion kan, walaupun sikit lah saya cuba nak rangkum semua benda ni, di mana kalau kita lihat Nietzsche adalah seorang yang of course memandang rendahlah kepada agama, dan kalau kita boleh relate dengan agama keseluruhan apabila seolah-olah dia tidak setuju dengan adanya konsep virtue and value yang standard yang boleh kita impose kepada semua orang. Dia sangat melihat kepada virtue yang bersifat kontekstual, bersifat itulah dalam pengalaman masing-masing akan berlaku banyak perubahan-perubahan yang itu yang Dr. Doria sebutkan, macam seolah-olah satu coin tu ada dua side, dan itu yang beliau sangat lihat, dan di mana kita setuju, which is ethics is not a matter of imposing good and bad, tetapi dia melibatkan satu ialah satu keputusan yang kompleks dalam kehidupan, dan kita tak boleh kata macam satu benda tu baik sepanjang-panjangnya baik dan satu benda buruk, dan di mana agamawan sentiasa seolah-olah menyatakan bahawa konsep baik dan buruk ini adalah itu saja. Itu yang dia tidak setuju. Dan kalau saya boleh kata, of course dalam Islam, dalam agama kita lah, kalau boleh kita kata bahawa agama of course ada certain standard virtue and values yang perlu kita pegang, dan itu mungkin sedikit berlaku konflik dengan agama yang kita tidak boleh terimalah. Yang kedua ialah kalau kita lihat dengan lebih meluas lagi tentang bagaimana Nietzsche memahami kedudukan Tuhan dan kedudukan hereafter dalam keadaan yang agak negatif lah, dan pemahaman yang negatif di mana bagi dia benda itu akan hanya menjauhkan manusia daripada tanggungjawab, hanya menyatakan bahawa anything to do is about your future, lambat lagi, jauh dan sebagainya. Itu satu lagi benda yang mungkin dianggap tidak diterima dari segi agama lah, kerana dalam agama kita percaya tentang adanya Tuhan dan adanya konsep kehidupan selepas mati, dan dalam kepemahaman orang Islam sepatutnya kita memahami ini adalah sebagai suatu motivasi untuk kita bergerak dengan lebih produktif, dengan lebih aktif dan sebagainya. Itu yang saya boleh sebutkan. Dan of course apa yang dia ceritakan tentang love tadi ialah kerana love merupakan satu konsep yang sangat sentral dalam Kristian punya faith, dalam pemahaman Kristian. Anything must go back to the love for God, love of God. Itulah satu-satunya kunci yang apa-apa saja kita tak boleh tanya sebab apa, kita tak boleh apa, kembali kepada, di mana dalam Islam pun ada sedikit pendekatan yang berfikir yang bersifat sedemikian. di mana ianya tidak menjawab keperluan kepada akal dan sebagainya. Inilah yang perlu kita seimbangkan, sebab kalau dalam Islam of course kita kata kita ada juga that consequentially dan sebagainya, tetapi Nietzsche melihat di dalam agama tidak ada sedemikian, asyik-asyik kembali kepada Tuhan, kepada akhirat dan kepada love of God dan sebagainya. Dan kalau saya boleh kaitkan di sini, yang tentang passion yang Dr. Doria sebutkan tadi, yang saya faham adalah passion adalah seolah-olahnya biasanya kita melihat dengan cara yang buruk, okay, and that's it. Tetapi pada Nietzsche adalah dia tidak semestinya bersifat buruk, bahkan dalam reason sendiri tidak boleh bertindak dengan independent, okay, di mana dia sentiasa ada kaitan dengan passion. Itu je lah. Jadi menunjukkan bahawa rumitnya tentang kedudukan satu source dalam ethics ini, di mana biasanya dalam agama dan sebagainya akan meletakkan yang baik di kanan, yang buruk di kiri, dan benda itu tidak boleh berubah. Sedangkan Nietzsche cuba mengatakan bahawa it's not only that. A lot of things we need to relook, we need to betul-betul, bahkan orang-orang agamawan dan pihak politician dan sebagainya, banyaknya benda-benda yang itulah membiarkan perkara yang buruk berlaku berleluasa, dan mereka asyik nak menuding jari kepada orang lain. Dan itulah yang saya cuba nak kaitkan di sini. Okey. Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Ya, sudah beberapa ketika senyap saja. Mungkin tak ada soalan lain. Jika tiada soalan yang baru lagi, kita boleh tamatkan sesi hari ini lah.
Thank you so much to everyone for attending and listening.
Thank you. And have a good night. Bye.